All right, today we're going to take a look at the beginning of lesson 3, and lesson 3 is talking about area and how we can use the area model to help us do some things in algebra. So let's take a look at starting on page 12. Page 12, looking at the important stuff, the stuff in green. Okay, so let's start here in the yellow box. Perimeter is the distance all the way around the outside edge of a figure, and perimeter, the perimeter of this is 6 units in length. Area is the amount of stuff inside. The area of this is 2. Okay, so here the area of this, they're counting 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. They're counting up all the edges. And here they're counting the number of squares that it took to fill it. Okay, so the amount of stuff inside, and then perimeters all the way around. Okay, so let's look at a couple of these. So area, so we're just going to count up all the boxes. So you got 4, and then 4, but you got 4 of them 6 times. So if we count all of those, we get 24. And you got 4, 8, 12, 16, 20, 24. And then perimeter is counting all the sides. So you got 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. And here we want the area. So you can do it a couple ways. You can count in rows of 3, or you can, in columns of 3 or rows of 8. So you can go 8 plus 8 more is 16, plus 8 more is 24. So these two things actually have the exact same area as one another, but they are represented differently. Perimeter, so you got 8 up here, and then you have 3. So 8 plus 3 is 11. You're going to have 8 here and 3 here as well, which 8 and 3 makes 11, and 11 and 11 is 22. Or you just take 8 plus 3 plus 8 plus 3. Here we have a square. Okay, so you have 5 this way and 5 this way. So the area of that, you get 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, which is also 5 times 5. The area here, 4 times 6 was 24, and 3 times 8 is also 24. The perimeter, you got 5, 10, 15, 20. Okay, just counting up all the sides, or you know that it is 5 on each side, so you just add those up. And as these shapes get bigger and bigger and bigger, it's going to be harder to count all the boxes on the inside, such as these next two. Those boxes are really tiny. Okay, so it's hard to count it. But we know we have 4 columns of 15. So we have 15. We have 15 4 times. So you got 15, 15, 15, and 15. 15 and 15 makes 30. And this 15 and 15 makes 30. And 30 plus 30 is 60. So your area in this one is 60. Okay. We added, or you could have multiplied 4 times 15. For the perimeter, we have 15, 4, 15, and 4. So you got 15 and 15 makes, so you get 15, 15, 4, and 4. 4 and 4 is 8. 15 and 15 is 30. 30 plus 8 is 38. Okay, again, you could just count them, but the boxes are getting so small on these, it's difficult. Okay. So with this one, you have 20 rows of 9, 20 columns of 9, or you have 9 rows of 20, however you want to see it. So we can do this a couple different ways. If I split this 20 in half, let's just say here, I'll have 10 here and 10 here. So 10, if I have 10 rows, 10 columns of 9, that would make 90. And if I have the same thing over here, that's another 90. 90 plus 90 is 180 because you got 90 boxes over here and 90 boxes over here. Okay. So we can split these things up into larger chunks if we want. In the perimeter, you got 20, 20, 9, and 9. 9 plus 9 is 18. And 20 plus 20 is 40. And 40 plus 18 is 58. Okay, so we got 58 on that perimeter. Okay, and as we get larger, they're just going to stop putting the boxes in there altogether. But again, we can make our own boxes. Okay, if I split this here, I got 6 and 30. Well, I can split this into thirds and get 10. So this is 10, 10, and 10. Okay, so 10 times 6 is 60, 60, and 60. 60 plus 60 is 120. And 120 plus 60 is 180. So 180 is that area. And then the perimeter, you got 6 on this side, 6 on this side, 30 and 30. So 30 and 30 is 60. And 6 and 6 is 12. 60 plus 12 is 72. And our goal here is to be able to do all this stuff without a calculator, but still be somewhat speedy about it. Okay. So here in our write and discuss what you think. How is the area of this 21 by 9 rectangle related to the area of 20 by 9 rectangle in problem 5? So here's problem 5. Okay, and they got 20 and then 21. So the area of the 21 by 9 and the 20 by 9, this was a 20 by 9, but going from 20 to 21, all they're doing is they're adding one more column here of 9. Okay, so if the 20 by 9 is 180 for the area, this one is just one more column added on. So you're just going to add 9 more to this one. So it would be 189. So the area of the 21 by 9 is 9 more. So the area is 9 more because of the 1 added row. Sorry, that's a column. How is the perimeter of the 21 by 9 rectangle related to the perimeter of the 20 by 9? Well, you're only going to lengthen it by 1. Okay, and when you do that, you are already counting this part over here. So you're only going to add this little one and this little one. So it's only getting 2 more. Okay, the perimeter increases by 2. So instead of 58, now it's going to be 60 is the perimeter. Okay, because you're just adding one on the top and one on the bottom. All right, number 9 and 10 here. Okay, sketch a rectangle with an area of 60 units. Now, this could be different. Everybody could have something different. Okay, so sketch a rectangle with 60 blocks in it. Okay, and the first thing that comes to my mind is 60 is 6 times 10. So if I draw a rectangle here, and if I make one side 6 and the other side 10, that has an area that would have 60 blocks, 6 rows and 10 columns in there. Sketch a different rectangle with this same 60 units, okay? So let's think of two other factors of 60, maybe 2 and 30. Okay, so that rectangle would be 2 times 30. And 2 times 30 makes 60. So again, there's only two rows, and in this case, 30 columns. Find the perimeter of the rectangle you drew in number 9. So the perimeter of this one, you've got 6 and 6 makes 12, and 10 and 10 makes 20. So here you got 32. Over here, find the perimeter of the one you drew in 9. You have 30 and 30 makes 60. 2 and 2 makes 4. So 60 plus 4 is 64. So the perimeter is much larger on that one. 13, 14, 15, and 16 are similar, okay, and one another. So we don't have any boxes here, but we need to find the area and perimeter of each. Okay, so here you've got 5 and 40. Okay, again, if we split that up into 4 sections, it's 10 each. So you got 10 times 5 is 50, 50, 50, and 50. 50 and 50 makes 100, and you got 100 over here, so that you got an area of 200. You got 40 and 40, and then 5 and 5. So 40 and 40 is 80, and then 5 and 5 is 10, so 80 and 10 is 90. And again, if you need to write that stuff out, 40 and 40 made 80, plus 5 and 5 is 10, and that gives you the 90. Please do so, okay? Now here's where it gets a little bit tricky, is we're going to start putting letters in here. But it's no different than what we did here. We actually, to get 200, took 5 times 40. So here, to get the area, we're going to take 5 times m, and we're going to get 5m. I always say that when you add letters into the math that you're doing, it actually gets easy because I don't have to know what 5 times m is. When you do 5 times 40, you actually have to do that and have to know it. You have to do the arithmetic. With letters, there's no arithmetic to do it. You just have to know the concept. Okay. Here we've got 5 and 5 is 10, and m, that's 2m. So you have 2m plus 10, or 10 plus 2m. You could write it either way. Doesn't matter. Okay, I like to put my letters first. Okay, the area here, you got A and B. So to find the area, you take A times B, whatever those are. You got A, and B. So to find the perimeter, you got 2 A's, and you're going to add that to 2 B's. So 2 A's plus 2 B's. Going to add those together. For this one, the area, okay, you're going to multiply those together, but you can actually multiply the numbers. So you got 5 times 3 is 15 times x times y. If those were numbers, we would multiply by those as well. So you got 3x and 3x, and you got 5y and 5y. So you got 5, sorry, let's start with the x. 3x and 3x, if you add those together, you get 6x. And then 5y plus 5y, you get 10y. Okay, so you add the numbers together, but you don't add the letters together. Okay, so starting over here on page 13 here, we'll wrap this lesson up. Okay, it says, use the links below to draw a picture to represent each expression. Okay, so We've got some arbitrary lengths here, A, B, and C, however long they are. So if you see here, if they add A and C, all they're doing is setting them next to each other. They're combining the length of those two together. And it doesn't matter the order you do it in, A plus C or C plus A in this case, because they're all positive numbers, okay? You can't have a negative length. And here with multiplication, they kind of make that square or the rectangles with those. So here on 17, we're going to take A. So that's A plus B. And for me, I just like to do it in the order that they have it. Okay, if they had C plus A, then I would put C plus A. B plus C. So you got B, kind of long, and then C. So combining that with it. And when you actually add, there's no gap here for those. It's just kind of what they wanted here. Okay, on 19, B times C. So we got B, let's say, is about that long. And C is a bit longer, something like that. But we complete that rectangle. Okay, so you got all this shaded part in there. Then you got A, which is a little guy, and C, which is a long one. And again, that creates this rectangle here. Use lengths for addition, use areas for multiplication. Okay. Sometimes it's convenient to measure an area by splitting them into parts and then adding them, which is kind of what we did over here. So here, they actually had 5 and 16. So what they did is they took 5 times 10, and 5 times 10 is 50, and 5 times 6 is 30, and then you add those together to get your 80. Okay, so you can do it by parts to make it just a little bit easier so that you don't need a calculator for it. Seeking and using structures. So the structure of area allows us to split rectangles into smaller parts that are easier to work with. However, we choose to split them, we get the same area when we add the parts together. So don't forget to add in the parts when you're all done. So 7 times 253 is 7 times 200 plus 7 times 50 plus 7 times 3. That can be summarized by this picture. We call this an area model multiplication because it uses ideas about area to model the processes of multiplication. What it also does is it gets you to smaller numbers that you can work with much easier, okay? We know that 7 times 2 is 14, and then you just put on the 2 zeros there. We should know that 7 times 5 is 35, and you just put the 1 0 on that one. We should know that 7 times 3 is 21. So we put that there, and then we add those together, and addition should be very easy for us. I do not expect you, however, to know what 700 times or what 7 times 253 is in your head, but these smaller numbers you should know in your head, okay? So here on 22, 6 times 13 is 6 times 10 plus 3, because we added those two together to get the 13, or we broke them apart. So 6 times 10 is 60, and 6 times 3 is 18, and 60 plus 18 is 78. 23, Carla is using a model to find 14 times 15. What should she do to find the next value? Okay, so she kind of split it up into 2 different ways because they were both larger numbers. Okay, so she's got 14 here, okay, and 15 here. So she multiplied and found the area of each one of these little rectangles or squares. So the only thing she has to do left is she needs to add the areas. Okay, so 100 plus 40 plus 50 plus 20. Okay, so you've got 100 plus 40, that's 140. 50 plus 20 is 70. And 70 plus 140, so that's 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 plus the 1. So you get 210 there. All right, 24 is our last one here. So they did another area model. They got 10 times 20 is 200. 10 times 6 is 60. 5 times 20 is 100. And 5 times 6 is 30. But they also kind of wrote it out algebraically here. So you got 15, they had 10 and 5. You've got 26 is 20 and 6. And then what you have to do is you got to multiply all these numbers together. Okay, so you got 10 and 20 is 200, which was right here. You got 10 times 6, which is 60 right there. You got 5 times 20 is 100 right there. And 5 times 6 is 30. Okay, and then you just add those all up. So you got, I start in the ones place. You got 0, 0, 0, 0. So you get 0 in the ones place. You got a 3, 0, 6, 0. So 6 and 3 makes 9. In the tens place. In the hundreds place, you got 2 and 1. So that's 3. So you get 390 in that one. Okay. That's going to end it for this lesson. You can go ahead and get started on page 15. You got those additional problems for your quiz. Looks like there's a few there. And in the next lesson, we will work through page 14, and then I'll make your quiz due shortly after that. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. Thanks for watching.